Kia ora. This morning I wanted to talk about some of the footwear going into the hills. It's important to wear the correct footwear and making sure that the footwear that you have used is going to last you the duration. I've been into the hills a number of times and I've explained this, but what I haven't explained about is the type of footwear that I've used going in, and a lot of people get stuck on what's appropriate, what's not, and for the purpose of the tramp you've got to sort of get the best fit. What I have here are my Solos. These are the boots that I've used for numerous tramps. I've had a pair of Kathmandus just like this beforehand. They are a good boot, they're a very good boot for mountaineering, what have you. They will see you through. Those are very good, but they're heavy. Another pair of footwear that you could use, and I'm not joking, yeah, those, and I've used those. Why would I use them? Because they're light, they can get through the river, and they can shake out sediment, stones and bits and pieces for you, and you don't have to suffer the nuisance of having something that would start as a pebble that will finish as a peninsula inside your shoe. So those there are the two extremes of footwear that you'd want. There is a pair of shoe, a track shoe, I'll just get that will sort of fit ideally in between those two extremes, and that is a pair of these. Now my bro gave me those a couple of years ago. They've got to a state where they're absolutely disintegrated. These are a great track shoe. There's the print underneath, they stick to everything. They are a good shoe. They're Dutch, but sadly for these ones here, they've met the end of their day, so no good. Now I do have another couple of other shoes that I've brought along for the purpose of this exercise, and that's another pair of really good really good indoor shoes. Now they are a court shoe, they're indoors, they're for squash, they're for cross training. The track below are pretty much smashed. You won't find these around on the shop anymore, but I'm getting closer to the type of shoe that I would use for running in the river system, going up to the track, and getting more towards a pair of something like these. Now these here are Solomons. They are a wet shoe. They're more of a slipper than they are a shoe. They have the quick release tie down. The track is smashed on these, on both of them, but what's great about these is that they're light, they're quick to get off, they're quick to put back on, they can handle the wet, and they can take a bit of smashing in the bush. So there's an idea of the type of footwear that might be ideal. I won't be using any of these, and there's a good reason. I've done all these. As you can see, they're smashed, they're absolutely shredded, probably with the exception of those. These my bro gave to me. I had a pair of these beforehand. He knew that I had a pair of these beforehand, so he handed these to me before he moved on to Australia. He's back in New Zealand now. I've used them, and you know, they're completely shot, just a rubber. It's about time to get them replaced. Man, these are just about 20 years old. Those there second hand, those there came from Auckland. You don't buy them anymore. Jesus boots, fantastic, but not ideal in the river system. Those heavy, no good for one day smashing out. So we'll finish this video on what I think would be ideal. Ngā mihi. Okay, we're in one of the local parallel importer suppliers, and what I wanted to do was just have a look at what's available on the cheap that you don't need to spend big money on. These are $30. These here, they're on a special at the moment, $30. Those will do. Those will get you to the top of the mountain and back again. And I would buy a pair of those. You've seen the selection that I've used, that I do use. These are not those, but they will suffice for the purpose of getting up to the top and back again. You're going down the different aisles, you see a series of different types of shoe. Ideally you want to go for small light. While this is a girl shoe, yeah, it's small, it's light, it's got a reasonably good track. I know that the track that I'll be on doesn't need a lot of grip. There's lots of stuff that the shoe can stick to. I've been up in absolute flat soled shoes and did it a piece of piss. So this is an array of sports shoes. You've seen the selection that I've put on the video of the types of different sports shoes that I do use. These are about $30, and once again, or $20 to $40. Once again, these are all cool. They'll only do for one hit up, or maybe even two if you're lucky. But the point I make is that the shoes that I showed you previously are really expensive stuff. They range between $100 to $350, very expensive. You don't need expensive shoes if you're going out for one-off hit up. Take your $35. Understand in your mind that for $35 you're only going to get one good wear out of them. However, if you walk well, you step well, you come out with a smashed shoe, but you will still get some more sports activity out of it. And who knows, you may end up wanting to hunt out this type of brand for all the time. So what I'm trying to show you is that I am likely to come back during this week and get this shoe, and I'm likely to utilise this shoe for the one-off hit. Now, like I say, I could use any one of these types of shoe. They will all be fine. What I'm going for is light, and I'm going to go for a wet shoe because it's a wet track, and that doesn't keep the water out. What it does is that when it soaks the water, it's still a light shoe. Unlike a leather that soaks the water, it gets heavier and heavier, and you're carrying all that weight up the track with you. So small, light, nice and thin, lets the water push out on every step. I'll be able to get my gaiter around that. Gaiter is basically an external sock that goes over the top of the laces to reduce the amount of stones and any other big debris from getting in. These here will probably be the extreme. I have used a pair of these flat soled shoes. They were Nike, and they were good, and that's how I learned to cope with what you got. These are Barters, like Scala, like the Barter bullets that we used to have. Converse also made these shoes. These are light. They will fall to bits. However, again, you're not spending a lot of money. You don't expect a lot for the money that you do spend, so they will get you to the top, but you'll have probably an uncomfortable ride coming out. All these shoes, would I use them? Not likely. Velcro's no good. It gets gummed up really quick with stuff, and once that Velcro is full of dirt and stuff, these feather strips, they don't work against the Velcro anymore, so I'd avoid those. Just as a quick message, slip-ons are great, only if you're staying on dry track. Once these things get wet and once they get bashed around a bit, they fall to pieces. Curtains, these are great. They're got a lot more ankle support, a lot more than the previous ones, but there's a lot of laces involved, and in terms of getting in and out, it depends upon what you're after. I did see some shoes, some of them, just see if I can find the things. Here we go. So here's another example of going well and going light. Now these are $40, and what you get is ankle support, you get a colour variety, you get a lot more lacing, and it is a light shoe. It's a good track shoe, and there's your tread underneath. So don't be afraid, do not be afraid of spending little if you're going in for a one-off smash. See, I'll use that shoe. Very nice, $35. Now I'm in a conundrum. Do I buy that, or do I buy the other pair that are lighter again? The thing is that when you buy cheap, you're going to get cheap. The glue's going to fall apart. Everything's going to turn to pot. So accept that if you're going to do a one-off tramp, buy a one-off shoe so that you haven't gone deep in the pocket, that you don't lose too hard. The more kids shoes. So there we go. Next time I come through, I'm only a week out from my run. So when I get to the tops, I'll take a shot of my shoe, the footwear that I've used to get to the tops, and that'll give you a good example of how buying too much can be simply just too much. Kia ora whānau, ngā mihi.